Hey guys, welcome back to the first edition of the Mudhorn under the new Flamekeeper banner. Be on the lookout for some new changes and scheduling coming up in the next couple months while we get it figured out. But I am super excited for this episode because I have Mr. Barry Duffield here from all the way from New Zealand, where he is based. Where he works as a actor, and he was in my favorite show, Spartacus, way back in 2000, I guess 11. Was that right? 2011.
Yeah, 2011. We finished in 2013.
2013. Okay, so yeah, so he was in that. So I want to talk to him a lot about his experience and the legacy since that show ended, and what he thinks about the current landscape of Hollywood, I guess you could say. But first, let's just get a quick Cliff Notes summary of how you got into acting in New Zealand, or did you start in Australia and move to New
Yeah, I
Zealand?
started in Australia.
Okay,
It was an interesting journey for me. I'd always been fascinated by film. My first job was as a projectionist in the local movie theater, and I tell this story over and over and over again. I was a young boy. I was probably 13, and I used to go into the theater, and when the sessions went in, I'd go into the just where they had all the movie posters pinned up, and in the foyer, and I'd steal them. So I
nice.
started out as a thief. I stole them, and this guy put me in one day, and he said to the manager, "I know who's stealing your posters." And the manager grabbed me, and he said, "Listen, I'm going to give you three choices here. I'm either going to call the police, I'm going to call your parents, or you can work for what you're stealing." And I mean, it was an obvious choice for me. So he taught me how to run the projection booth, and I learned everything about exhibition from this guy. And then his manager used to bring me books on frame by frame filmmaking, and they were trying to say to me, this is a nice little entry point, but if you want to really do something with film, this is where you need to go. And then I took a big sidestep from that and joined the Air Force. So I did
Right.
13 years. Yeah, did 13 years Royal Australian Air Force. But while I was in the services, we could work secondary jobs. So
Sure.
while I was in the services, I tried a few things, and then I got a gig riding a GPX 750R that I'd bought. So I bought a Quacker, and they wanted to use the bike for a commercial, but they wanted to do things with a stunt rider. And I said, listen, if you're going to use the bike, then I'll do the stunt work. And I had to show them that I could perform the stuff they wanted.
Right.
And then the day that I was there, the guy who was doing the helmet off, so all the face work, the model guy, he didn't show up. I don't know whether he slept in, maybe he got drunk the night before. I have no idea. But I remember the director's words exactly. So I was doing all the stunt work on the bike, and then he looked at me. I took the helmet off, and he said, "You've got an interesting face. We'll use you." So that was the first commercial I ever got. And then it just turned into the next one, turned to the next one, and the next one. And I ended up doing, I think, one of your favorite films when we were talking this about Escape from Absalom.
Yep, that's it.
You got it.
I just watched a couple days ago to see if I could spot you. But I
Oh,
did not.
you won't. You
Yeah.
won't. It's a blink, you miss it. It was the first time for me on a film set, but I was in you remember the guards wearing the black uniform with the big black helmets and the shotguns?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that was me. That was one of those.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so
It said
literally, it was
uncredited on your IMDb, so I was wondering.
you hear from people who start in the business, and they say, "Oh, I just wanted to make sure I was an extra in this,
Mhm.
and I wanted to make sure that I could be seen." So I've got a shotgun, and I'm holding the shotgun like this, and I'm literally drumming my fingers on the barrel, so that's my fingers. Famous.
Those famous fingers.
That was exactly what it was. But I remember that moment. There was a moment where Ray Liotta is in the train, and he's on his way to the prison,
Right.
and he's looking out of the window, and the warden walks past him, and he said, "Eyes front." And Ray keeps looking out the window, and he said, "No, I said eyes front." I looked at that guy, and I went, "Well, that's what I want to do next. I don't want to go on the set and be what I was doing, drumming my fingers. I want to have some lines."
Sure.
So the next time I saw my agent, I said, "Don't give me a call unless I've got something that's got dialogue." And then the next time I'd see what the next guy was doing, and I go, "Don't call me again until I get to do that. Let's keep pushing career forward." So I didn't want to just sit stagnating somewhere. I don't know. It wasn't like I knew that. It was some kind of instinct. It just said, "This is what you want to do. You have to be the driver." While we're on set on that film, and this is not a particularly proud moment, but it's quite funny in retrospect.
Sure.
There was doing the scene where Ray Liotta's about to go off to the prison island,
Mhm.
and they're all looking up at what was it? Who was the actor who played the warden in that? Michael someone. But anyway, he's the warden and he's on a hologram. So they're all looking up at the hologram, and they have to drop their towels and they do a nude scene. Now, it was in Australia and it was quite warm. And all these Aussie boys are standing in a line, and Ray's somewhere in the middle of them. And they all drop the towels, and the Aussie boys were just being Aussie boys. They were hanging. And Ray, not so much. And the guy next to me looked at Ray and he just went, and it was one of those moments where it was like you're thinking back and you think you shouldn't have done this. But the guy next to you goes, and I'm, and then the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And we lost Ray for 8 hours. He went back to his trailer and he wouldn't speak to anybody. And we almost got fired. So I nearly got fired from the very first job I ever did.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, you can't insult manhood.
No, you can't. But it was like a champignon. I'm sorry, Ray, and I know he's gone now.
Yes.
Yeah, but must have been colder for him.
So that's the only experience you really had with him in person was just that one time?
Yeah, never got to meet him. I think he's an incredibly gifted actor. And it was a pathetically stupid thing to laugh about, but it was like, you hear one guy and then the next one, it's like when somebody yawns.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. I probably would have been
the next guy yawns.
Because it's like you can't believe someone just said that, and it's so funny and in the moment.
Yeah.
Can't help it. Yeah,
exactly that. You look back at it in time, you think, "Oh shit, sorry, Ray, fucked up your day."
Right. It happened. Yeah. I'm sure he was well compensated for that inconvenience. So, I was actually.
And it was such a great movie, and he's such a great actor.
Yeah, it is a good movie. I haven't seen it since probably like 20 years. Me and my dad actually stopped. Back in the day when movie theaters would just like have posters up on the outside and you would like drive by and look at the start times.
And steal them.
Well, I didn't get to steal any, but sometimes if we were just out in town or something, we would just like drive by the posters and see what was playing. And I remember that No Escape was one of those movies like we had never heard of it because we didn't have really cable TV or satellite until like I was like 16, so that was 96. So a lot of times we just find out about stuff just driving by on a poster and go see it. And No Escape was one of them that we actually
I think it was 93.
We just took a chance. Mm-hmm. Yep, it was good. I remember it. And then like I said, when we talked and you agreed to do this, I was like, I need to watch No Escape again to see if I can spot Barry in there. But
I was just in that train sequence.
I was gonna guess you were one of the archers on the tower on the island because they also were not shown. It was just like their back to the screen. So I didn't know if maybe that was you because it just says guard. That's all it says on the IMDb.
Well, I got invited to go to the Daintree Forest to shoot, so I got asked if I would be one of the rogues, one of the cannibal prisoners.
The outsiders.
And it was half the reason I left the services because we were working where we had we could do extra jobs, but then they cut that. So I could have taken leave and gone up to shoot it. They just decided that we weren't going to get extra jobs anymore. So that was half the reason I left the services. And then I just took up acting on I said professional, but it's so up and down unless you're Brad Pitt and you're not working full time.
Yeah. So you moved on to do like Xena and Hercules too, I saw.
Yeah, I did Hercules. I think the episode was called Hercules on Trial, where I played a Hercules imposter. My character dies in the beginning, and there's a trial there where they're accusing Hercules of being such a hero and a folk hero that people are trying to imitate him and dying.
Right.
Yeah, and then I did Xena as well. So I think I did Herc twice. I did Xena once, but there was Jack of all trades, young Hercules. I got to work with Ryan on that one. That was quite cool. They're all the Pacific Renaissance shows, which was great because these guys had such a loyalty to their actors here. They kept bringing us back.
Mm-hmm. A lot of that team that did Xena and Xena and Hercules was also involved in Spartacus too, right?
Oh, yeah. It was the same company. Team. Starz were the guys who produced it, but it was Rob Tappert, Sam Raimi's baby.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't watch much of Xena and Hercules, mostly because like I was usually in school and didn't get home in time to watch it. Back when I had 3 channels on Rabbit Ears.
You're making me feel very old now.
Well, I lived through that. I lived through it too. I'm 42. I'll be 43 next month. So
I'm 60, 61 next month.
61. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you've lived it, so that's why we're here talking. I'm excited to hear these stories. So, how did you get the role of Lugo? Well, actually, let me back up. Were you a fan of the first 2 seasons before you got cast as Lugo in season 3?
Yeah,
Or
absolutely,
I guess it is
100%.
actually.
You know, you look at something that comes up like that, and you immediately physically went, "That's a show that I should be on." The problem with it was that I went to my agent, and this was during Blood and Sand, and I said, "I really want to get on that show. How can I get an audition?" And they went, "You're too old."
So the ageism, huh?
Yeah, no. You know what it was? It was you're too old because the gladiators were dying before they were 30.
Sure, I get
I
that.
mean, I was headed towards 50. I'd like to believe that I looked young enough to do it, but no. And when they opened the gates up and they were all out of the ludus, then that made it really accessible for me. So when I went back to my agent again, I said, "Okay, listen, season 3, got to audition for it." And it was great because I know for a fact that Steve tonight actually said, "I like that guy. He's a funny guy." So yeah, that's Lugo.
Oh, that's
That was
cool.
actually picked by Steve tonight himself. I just went, yeah, that was great because that guy's amazing.
Yeah, he
And
does.
you get to meet.
I was a fan of the Daredevil season that he did too on Netflix, but
I haven't seen it yet, but I've got to.
I think he left after that first season, if I'm not mistaken. But it was good. I liked it. I was pretty excited to hear that it was the same guy who did Spartacus, even though I know it wasn't going to be as hyper violent or graphic as Spartacus, obviously. But good writing is good writing, so I'm a fan of following.
Exactly right. His writing is like poetry.
Yeah, it's really good.
And especially in Spartacus, it was like poetry. And if you met the guy, it would make you feel really nice to know that as a human being, he's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've met some real assholes.
I'm sure you have.
This guy's not one of them.
Oh, that's good to know. There's some decent people out there, at least.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing about being on set on Spartacus. Like all families, you have disputes, but they were exactly like that. They were family, and they still are to this day.
When you disputed something, did they make you like pick up some gladiator swords and just fight it out?
Go out and beat the shit out of each other. No, but they should have. I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's like stay in character. If you guys got
Yeah.
not fight to the death because insurance is expensive, but just first man down kind of thing.
I am pretty sure that some of the scenes that we were shooting, because of the way we came out being broken, that some of the other actors did think they were taking it out and working out disputes while we were on shooting a scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do remember this. I remember Dustin being behind me as we're going up Vesuvius and taking both swords dripping with blood and crossing them over and putting an imprint on my back like I was the Red Cross. There's things like that. Or being completely, remember we were in the snow scenes and I've got this like a Ninja Turtle shield strapped to my back. And I'm crouched down in all this leather gear that makes it really hard to move in the first place. And as they call action, Dustin would just lean over and push me, and I just fall over onto my back with the shield underneath me like a turtle, not being able to get up. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the Gannigus character. That guy, the actor Dustin Clare, he seems pretty cool. Maybe slightly unhinged a little bit. I don't know.
Oh, totally unhinged. He's a nutcase.
Unhinged, yeah.
but he's a really good nutcase.
Yeah, one of those fun kinds. Yeah. Because
the practical joker was always Dustin.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I remember when they introduced him into the Gods of the Arena, and then he lived. So I was like, man, this is gonna be pretty awesome when he's like meeting up with the rest of the rebels. I was pretty excited about that, and it lived up to my expectations. 100%.
Well, the rest of his work is really solid too. So you see him in something that a series here called Underbelly. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I have not, but I'll write it down.
Underbelly is phenomenal. It's a whole bunch of series of true life crime in Australia.
Okay.
And Dustin played a guy called Chris on it. He was a hitman. He was phenomenally good. Highly rate that guy as an actor.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
As a comedian, not so funny though.
I'll rephrase it. As a comedian, not so funny when he's picking on you, correct?
Yeah, exactly that.
Gotcha. Okay. So, what was it like being on the set of that show? Because I mean, I know a lot of it is green screen, but it was like so stylized, and like everyone was just pretty much naked all the time, minus a loincloth or something. And it's just like it seemed like a lot of fun, actually. I mean, it seemed like really physical. Like I know they incorporated a lot of like MMA and like pro wrestling choreography into the fights and stuff like
This
that.
is Alan Poppleton. So Al Pop was our stunt coordinator. He was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was both a love-hate relationship with Al Pop because we had to do our month of oh God, what do they call it when we did the training for it? So dropping my words a little here. When we did Gladiator Boot Camp, Al Pop was the guy who designed all of the exercises for that, and literally he broke us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it also, by breaking us, it also made us really come together as a team. So
Yeah.
I think that's where it all
Really
started,
tight.
this family.
Yeah. Everything seemed really tight on that show, like the choreography and stuff. Like it didn't look like it was a bunch of it didn't look like it was a bunch of like editing to make something work. Like if someone dropped the ball and they're like, we'll just edit it to make it work. I mean, it looked like everyone like was on their game on the fights.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you, I remember when the Germans first came together at the Greek temple.
Mm-hmm.
So they just released us off the ships, and we ended up, that was the introduction to our characters. There was a fight sequence in there where we all went at each other, and I had to fight Manu. I came home after that. I literally crawled up the stairs, fell into a bath of Epsom salts. My wife's sitting here with painkillers. I had popped a knee. I'd done a rib. I was broken, and all I can remember is Manu whispering in my ear, "We're gonna make this look real, bro. We're gonna make it look real." Yeah, my wife was looking at me. She said, "You can't do this. Look at you. You're broken. How are you going to survive this? If you get broken like this, how are you going to work? And if you don't work, how are we going to survive?" And I said, "Well, honey, you got to settle down." I said, "We're insured on set." And she just stopped dead and looked at me and said, "How much?"
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. I was waiting for the hand on my head to push me under the water. Oh, he died.
Sure.
Yeah,
No,
he died of his injuries.
Lugo couldn't go out that like that. It had to be something spectacular. Here in a little bit.
I tell you, coming home after we were shooting things, like we did one of the final battle scenes, and we had the massive orgy. And my character was in the water with 8 women. And I'd come home from that, and my wife would look at me and she said, "So tell me about your day."
And what did you tell her?
Yeah, no, you'd be very cautious about how you replied to that.
Yes. It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of
honey, it was shit. Yeah, 8 naked women in the tub going at you like crazy. Nah, crap day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to take a couple of aspirin and go to bed.
Yeah, there you go. So let me ask you a personal question. Like how being married and acting with like in like a scene like that, how hard is that to like borderline between like acting and just like wow, this is pretty awesome. But you know what I mean? It's like obviously the thought goes through your head, it's like, man, this would be pretty cool if I wasn't married. I'm actually getting to do it, but I can't do anything. Like how do you handle something like that as an actor?
I like to mirror. So I take someone that I really care about, somebody I really love, and I'll put them on that person.
Gotcha.
So for me, it's like I have an amazing relationship with my wife. She's absolutely fantastic. So if I'm in a loving relationship, all I have to think about is how it is for me at home.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've never been in that situation, so I always wondered, like, especially in Spartacus, where everyone's in pretty damn top shape, male and female. It'd be hard to not have like a wandering eye, sometimes.
Oh, you know what? And I'm going to be completely honest. There's no way in the world you can do a sex scene without it affecting you.
Right.
Yeah. And if it doesn't affect you, though, then it's not real.
Sure.
Trying to fake like something like that and to not have the emotion because you're holding back because you're going, this is not someone I'm supposed to be doing this with, then you're defeating the purpose of it.
Gotcha. I mean, like I'll never be in that situation, so I don't have to worry about it. But I always wondered, like, especially like in that show or like Game of Thrones, like these cable shows are like highly like sexual scenes and stuff like that. So,
you imagine the hardest thing for some of the actors on that set? So we had gay actors who were on the set, so they were gay. We had straight actors who were playing gay characters, and the gay characters who were playing straight.
Right.
So imagine what it was like trying to, for the straight guys who are playing the gay scenes, how they went with that. So they've had no experience of it. Well, I don't think they have. I don't want to cast aspersions. But you would hear things like walking past a closed set where they were shooting the stuff with Nagron. And you could hear the director in there going, okay, guys, we're going for position number 2. Oh, God, I love position number 2. And then you can just hear that as you're walking past, thinking, oh, you poor bastards. Let's go for position number 2.
Yeah, that would be
It's the playbook.
Yeah, it would be tough. Like, I don't know though. Like, if I was putting myself in that situation, I think I would have an easier time, like acting like the gay stuff versus the straight stuff, because the straight stuff is like true to life, right? The gay stuff is like you're just acting on something that you really don't like practice. You know what I mean? But like, still, it would still be.
Well, no, you know what? There's a really interesting thing for you though. You're not really acting. It's not something you've not done. It's because you're still loving another person.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's yeah. So when you look at something like what happened with Nagron, they were so good because that relationship was so tight. You actually believed it.
You're referring to Agron and Nasir, right?
Nasir,
That was is that
yeah,
was the couple?
yeah. They called them fan base called them Nagron.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, because I was like, man, I
Yeah.
don't think I remember this guy, but now, okay, it makes sense now. Yeah,
So the two of them are both as straight as a die.
gotcha.
But they played that relationship as it's two people who are just madly in love.
Right.
And that's it. How you look at any scene, whether it be gay, straight, whatever. It's that. It's just love.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I got no issues with it. As a matter of fact, the show I remember, yeah, back in 2011, I think it came on before Game of Thrones premiered. I think they came out the same year. Yeah, but I remember that show in particular. Like, it didn't really it didn't really like announce that it was like LGBTQ friendly. It was just like, here's this show. We have some gay characters. We have some other things going on, and you can just watch it. They didn't like put out a press release like, hey, our show features, like 3 gay characters, and we have like many black people or people of color, or they're just like, here's the show. You can watch it. And
yeah,
that's it. Like, we're not patting ourselves on the back for like casting like all or like having all these different types of characters in it. Like, this is just what the show is. You can watch it or leave it, and that was it. Nowadays, it seems like they have a press release for like every character that's gay or like black or Mexican or anything like that.
I know,
like,
isn't it crazy?
It's weird. It's like they pat themselves on the back, like, look, this show has like this many minorities and this many LGBTQ, and it's like it's kind of boring because it's like, well, I mean, that's fine, but I mean, I could probably figure it out when I watched it. It's like, you kind of like insulting my intelligence by just telling me I don't know any better.
Yeah,
up front.
I'm in a writers group called Stage 32, and I just saw something come up where it said, here's a contest. It's for black writers only, and it's black girl, black boy. And I looked at that and I thought, well, what if I changed that around? And I said, oh, here's a writing contest, and it's for white people, and it's white boy, white girl, and I'm confused by it because I don't look at the color, I don't look at the sexuality, I just look at the person. Nowadays, it's them telling us that we have to look at the person, we have to look at what their sexuality is. It's so crazy. Don't understand it.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I mean, like, I'm not in that circle of work, but like I reach it at night on my phone, like on like Yahoo before I go to bed. I just like scroll headlines, and like the headlines are, new show coming on like HBO features, like one black character. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I'd rather just hear that they have talent.
Yeah, it's like, what? It's like, just cast whoever's best. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely right. Black, white, green. It doesn't make any damn difference.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
but there are people out there who want that. They want the division.
Yeah, I get it. Victimhood is like the new addiction, man. Like, everyone just wants to be a victim of something, it seems like.
Yeah.
So what do you think the legacy of the show, like, post finale, is for Spartacus? Like, how do you think it was remembered well, or do you think it's like because it was on Starz, it's kind of regarded as like B level material? Because like here in America, it's like on the cable, at least, it's HBO, Showtime, and then Starz. And then like the streaming are like even like less like regarded as high quality programming. So I feel like the show, because it was on Starz, may not got his like just due because it was on Starz. I know it was like the first season, especially, it looked like it was like a 300 meets Gladiator ripoff, which it kind of was, not ripoff per se, but visually like 300, and with the
Yeah,
Gladiator
very,
fights
very
and
similar.
everything. Yeah, but I thought the dialogue and the storytelling was like, I mean, I think it's some of the best I've ever watched. Like, especially the dialogue, how it's all like reverse English, super vulgar, but you know exactly what they're talking about. It's like it totally makes sense, even though it's like very Roman and like poetic sounding, you know.
Yeah, it was beautifully, beautifully written. I think the legacy for that show, and it will always be the legacy for that show, will be Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one will forget Andy because of that show, and it was a step up for him. It was, I think that was where it was going to launch his career. It was so sad what happened to him.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So as far as legacies go, definitely that. You know what? It's really interesting when you talk about how it was on Starz and it might have been B, but it just seems to keep growing. I still get fan mail for it.
Yeah,
People have
obviously
seen it for the first time 10 years later.
Yeah, I looked you up for sure, you know. So yeah, I mean, I never forgot it. I watch it about like every couple of years, like the whole thing. I have all the DVDs. You know, then it's on streaming, and I'll watch it on there too, you know, stuff like that. And so yeah, I love it, man. That show is amazing to me. Like I love how violent it was. I love how unapologetic it was. I love how it just, you know, characters were gay and they did gay stuff, you know, and it was like pick up a sword and kill a Roman, like nobody cared,
Yeah.
you know. It's like just
Yeah, well, isn't it the beauty of it? Because it's saying, you know, just because you're gay doesn't mean you can't fight. Just because you're gay doesn't mean that you can't do anything.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they had these characters that were gay that were not stereotypical of hiding behind somebody else. They went out there and they slaughtered with the best of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even in season one, the Barca and Petros relationship, you know, that was another gay couple in season one.
I think it was more acceptable back in their time than it was in ours, or it is in ours.
Yeah, I do believe that. I really do. Like, I think I don't know, societal norms, like especially with like the church, like just kind of dictating what you should believe a lot, and you know, this country, especially being based on Catholicism, and you know, like the Pilgrims bringing it over and stuff like that, and it's, you know, it goes from like I don't understand this, so it's witchcraft, to I don't understand why you're, you know, kissing this guy or laying in bed with him, you know, at night. It's like I don't believe it, so therefore it's wrong. And it's like
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is kind of like getting pushed to the side now, which is good, you know. So maybe in 20 years,
100%.
maybe in 20
It's
years
always,
it won't be a big deal anymore.
yeah,
You know.
live and let live.
Yes, exactly. Be
I'm
happy.
pretty sure that homosexuality is not catching.
I mean, the city I live near is Asheville, North Carolina. It's like the San Francisco of the East, what they call it, because it's a lot of gay friendly, you know, bars and, you know, businesses and stuff like that. And I work there almost every day, and I'm still pretty straight. I never caught anything, so
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right.
so I think we're good. I think it's a choice that you can make for yourself, and you know, if you want to live with it, live with it. It's cool.
Yeah,
Be happy.
let's live and let live, brother.
Yes. Who do you think would be the most ready to get into a gladiator fight out of the cast that you worked with?
Oh, for real.
Yeah, like who do you think would
So
be?
who's insane enough to want to do that? That's Manu all the way.
Really, I was gonna say Danagus, but yeah, I could see that because Crixus he's a pretty badass man. I love that character.
He did such an amazing job with him, didn't he?
Yes. My favorite
Yeah,
scene with Crixus was when he pissed in the porridge in season one and laughed about it with when
yeah,
Spartacus and Varro were eating. That scene still cracks me up to this day because it's just like so funny. But yeah, like I don't know, man. There's a lot of pretty cool characters in there. I would say almost maybe Onimaeus, the guy who played Onimaeus, might be pretty badass in the gladiator arena too.
Peter Mensa. Do you
Yeah.
know what? The first time I met Peter, I'd seen him in 300.
Yes.
The first time I met him, we were at lunch, so we were at the table getting our stuff, and he reached across the table and he bumped over like a sauce bottle. He just knocked it over, and he straight away went, "Oopsie!" And I pissed myself laughing because I watched him as really gruff, hard characters. And Oopsie was just so out of character. I just fell on the floor and I started laughing my ass off.
It's not really what you expected to hear from him.
Yeah, you know, I thought he would have just bumped that bottle over and goes, ah, shit, leave it there.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Just the oopsie.
No, oopsie. Another amazing human being.
Yeah, he was also in 300. I know he wasn't in it too much. He was the guy who got kicked in the pit. Right?
Memorable though, right? He got kicked into the pit.
Oh yeah,
this is Sparta.
Yes. That was a really good scene. I haven't watched 300 in quite a while, actually. I should probably do that again soon.
See, I haven't either, but the one scene I remember is the one with Mensa.
Obviously, yeah.
So I mean, he was only there for a little while, but he was impactful.
Yes. Did you ever see the sequel by any chance?
No, couldn't do it.
You know, I was kind of skeptical about it, but it actually wasn't too bad. It was actually another story taking place parallel with the 300 movie. So, like, while the sequel was going on, 300 was happening because they would reference it like victories and stuff like that. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I was actually pretty surprised by it. So
I'll check it out on that recommendation.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not like takes place after 300. It's a parallel story with on the ocean, which is kind of cool. I was like, oh, I didn't know it was this. I just thought you were just trying to cash cow, which I guess kind of it.
It happens so much. That's why I'm a little bit cynical about it.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, it wasn't.
What's your favorite movie?
Man, I have a lot of them actually.
What's your one go-to?
One go-to movie? Conan the Barbarian, 1982.
Oh, Conan was great. Absolutely brilliant.
They're actually re-releasing it in theaters next week. I'm thinking about
that. I've got a poster for that somewhere. If you see behind me all the films, all the DVDs and Blu-rays behind me.
Yep.
And down on the floor, that's all movie posters. I collect antique movie posters. I've done that for decades, ever since I was stealing them.
Yeah, I'm about to say, do you have any of those left that you stole, like those posters?
I don't think I got an original. Maybe I do. I don't think I kept too many of them. When I went through film school, I sold a whole lot of them to pay my way through film school.
Sure. Yeah, everyone does. Everybody does stuff they regret in their youth, man. Like,
well, since then I've collected more and more and more and more. So I think I'm back to like 10 times what I originally had.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So how would you rate your kill scene 1 to 10 in Spartacus? Because I have to say, I think yours is a 10. I think yours is the best. As far as
my death.
Yeah, your death scene. Yeah.
I loved it. I think I read the original. Original was that I'd fought my way into an armory where they kept all the pitch, and we're fighting in the middle of the armory, and then it all goes up around me. So they changed that out, and it changed to where one of those pitch jars hits the ground and it sets me on fire. But when I first read it, I went, "Wow, that's just great." But then, actually being on the ground and burning and still fighting was brilliant, wasn't it? I love that. It's the best 27 seconds I had.
Oh, dude, the whole "fuck your mother" scream in German, and then the two Romans come and stab you in the back. I was like, man, that was such a damn badass death, man. I was like, there's a lot of other ones that need to live up to that. I think yours was probably the best out of the core characters.
Can you remember how it went in German?
I do not.
Fickt euer Mutter.
That's pretty. Did you have to learn a lot of German for that?
Absolutely. I had to learn that song. You remember that one? Ich ficke deine Leiche, bis der Morgen kommt. Mein Schwanz wutet weiter, mein Schwanz wutet weiter.
Nice.
Yeah, that means what is it? My cockroach is on, my cockroach is on.
Oh, that's the one Gannigan song in the Arena too. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the songwriter. I should talk to that songwriter one of these days. That's a classic.
That's on iTunes. You can buy it, download it.
Can you really?
No.
Oh, I'm about to say I want to do it. Just put it on my streaming playlist. It's like, listen to this, kids.
Yeah, it's right up there with an Australian guy by the name of Kevin Bloody Wilson. Have you heard of him?
I have not.
Write that name down and look for him on YouTube. Kevin Bloody Wilson. Listen to his Christmas song. You'll play that one for the kids.
All right. I'll check it out.
Yeah, but it literally goes, Santa Claus, you beep, 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 beep. Kevin Bloody Wilson's known for his bawdy tunes.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll look him up a little bit later. That and Underbelly. So, and Underbelly, he's just in one episode. Is that right, Dustin Clare?
He does a season, so he's a recurring character for a season. I
Oh,
just
okay.
can't remember which season it was.
I'll look
Have
at my. I'll look at
have
my
you checked out Brokenwood Mysteries yet?
Brokenwood Mysteries. Nope, I have
Yeah, I
not.
think that it showed in the States on Acorn.
Acorn.
I played a special needs character on that.
Okay, yeah, I'll check that out. Would
Probably one of the roles that I liked better than anything I'd done for years, playing that spec needs character.
yeah.
Yeah, playing it with dignity.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that
Yeah.
out too. I got a lot to look up here later on. Why do you think that Liam McIntyre isn't really getting lead roles after Spartacus?
I don't
Because
know
to be
because
honest
he's
with
a
you,
fantastic actor.
I thought he was pretty damn awesome. Like it was jarring when they changed from Andy to Liam in season 3. It was like it took a little bit to get used to it. But once you like have repeat viewings and like the shock is like, gone, or like the surprise. Just watching his like body of work in those 2 seasons, man. I mean, that dude's pretty convincing, man. I had to say I am a big fan of his, and I don't really know
You're not alone. So am I.
I don't know why he doesn't really show up in more stuff. I know he does a lot of voice acting for video games and like cartoons, but as far as like feature stuff, I don't see him in anything. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know either. I honestly don't know. But I saw him when he did Security. Have you seen that?
Didn't I have Antonio Banderas in it? Am
I,
I?
I don't know. Possibly, but I know Liam was in it, and I thought he did such a fantastic job. But everything I've seen him in, I think he's great. And stepping into that role where Andy had just left off was tough for him. Imagine being at work and the guy before you had died, and then people are walking past you without consciously thinking about it, going, "Hey, Andy, oh shit, sorry, Liam."
That happened a lot on set.
Oh yeah,
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 yeah. I thought he was really good, man. I think his I think the episode where he talked to let me think here. Was it Crassus? Was Crassus the last Roman general in the show?
yes, yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
The one he told Crassus about man to man, and I just told him like tomorrow or next time I see you, I'm gonna kill you. That whole exchange I thought was amazing. Like it was really good. And
Do
the
you know
part
what?
where they had the funeral for Crixus was also really impactful. I mean, I just bought it.
Oh yeah, the writing was brilliant.
Yeah.
You remember when he charges the hill and he goes to take out Crassus?
Yes.
The moment when he takes out the first two guys, and then there's just this moment where he turns his head and he looks at Crassus, sold it for me like that.
Yeah.
That look was just pure, absolute rage and determination.
Yeah.
He played it so well, but it was just a blink. It was a moment. You just went, wow.
Yeah, I bought him as Spartacus. Like I said, after you just got past the initial getting used to him, seeing him as Spartacus, I was a big fan. I thought he would have a pretty big career, but I'm surprised like he doesn't really
It
he's not
isn't
really
over
much.
yet. That
Yeah.
lady hasn't sung yet. He's
No,
still
no,
got a
it
long
has.
way to go.
But you would figure like the initial off the initial run, like the momentum would have been like, at least like some pretty big movies and stuff. But
It's just a crazy industry, though, isn't it? I mean, I came off Spartacus and I thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to jump straight into the next thing. And it didn't happen. I had two shows that I was up for. One of them was another Starz show, and Starz canned it because the budgets were too high. So that disappeared. I came back to New Zealand and I got put up for a lead role in a thing called The Jab Racket, playing an Irish gangster, and I got that. Then that disappeared. And then I ended up working back in the gym again. It's like, and you just can't figure it.
right, what was the show?
And at the end of the day, you just have to let that go too. Otherwise, you end up destroying yourself.
Right. What was the show on Stars that you got offered that got canceled?
It was another one with Stephen. I think it was called Incursion. I keep getting Inception and Incursion, so it's Incursion.
Right.
And it was a sci-fi show. I wouldn't talk about it because he may end up trying to bring it back again. But yeah, we talked about that, and he said he had a role for me on it. But it just ended up being too big a budget.
Oh, gotcha. Well, they did. Stars does some pretty good shows. I mean, they also did Black Sails, which I thought was really good. I don't know if you saw that one. It was
I haven't seen it yet, but everybody I know says I should watch it.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a Treasure Island prequel. Had like Long John Silver in it before he was Long John Silver, stuff like that. It was pretty good.
And
I
shot in
thought it
Cape
was,
Town as well. So it
yes,
was
it
all
was.
shot in Cape Town. I would have loved the time in Cape Town.
Yeah, I had to look it up because my wife was convinced it was filmed in like the coast of South Carolina, and I was like, I don't think so. And she looked it up, it's like, wow, South Africa. I would never thought.
Yeah.
It's like you just never know. So you look.
You imagine the security they would have needed for that.
Yes, well, probably pretty good bit. Yeah. Um, anything else coming up that you're in or in that you hasn't premiered yet?
I do a lot of voiceover stuff at the moment, so I've been doing Power Rangers,
Oh, nice.
and I'm focused on my own stuff. So I've just got another novel I released. I've got 2 graphic novels out there, and I've got 3 films in development that I've written myself. So I'm just keeping myself busy on the other side of the camera.
Right. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to talk to you about the novel stuff. So I started reading a little bit of Dead Man's Land after I contacted you, but it's hard to read on my phone to get the full impact of
yeah.
it. So I'll
You
probably
got to have it like this, not this.
yeah, exactly. But I am into Nazis and I should say I'm into Nazis as a villain. Not into Nazis and werewolves. So when I read that was the concept, kind of, I thought that's pretty awesome for a Dead Man's Land.
Well, Dead Man's Land has had the script has placed in the top 5 contests in the world for screenwriting. So it's done really well. It's been a really hard one to shift because it's a massive budget to make it. I'd say you wouldn't make this for under 35 to 40 million.
Right.
And in today's climate, maybe a bit more. So I've broken it all down. I had it originally as a feature film script. I've broken it down as a TV series. So I'm going to try and sell it as a 3-part limited season.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was one of those things that when I wrote it, I didn't write it because I thought, there might be a market for werewolves. I wrote it because I'm absolutely a nut for anything like them.
For liking ism and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd seen all these films coming out lately that were really cheap werewolf movies. And I just thought I wanted to put something out that was more in line with what they should be. They're all powerful, non-stop, unstoppable.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everything everything gets watered down. Like zombies, I'm like, I don't watch anything with zombies in it anymore. I'm just like, I'm done with zombies. Like, give it a break. Vampires, it depends what it is. It can hit or miss. But I'm kind of done with like the vampire thing too. It's like after Twilight, it's like these guys are kind of wimpy. I just want vampires like just like killing people.
Vegetarian vampires. That
Yeah,
was a crack up.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, what did you eat kale today before I suck your blood? It's like
Yeah.
something just stupid shit like that. But werewolves, I don't think have been oversaturated yet. So I think the
Absolutely underutilized beast.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a lot of really low budget werewolf movies out there. So when I say underutilized, there are some stuff out there that's just I wouldn't watch. As far as big budget, really stylized werewolf films, there are not many out there. But I did watch one the other night. It was the Marvel special one. It was Werewolf by Night, I think it's called.
I've seen it on there. I didn't watch it yet, but
it's very good.
I saw it. I've heard it's pretty good for Disney.
Yeah, that's very good.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. I might watch it tonight, actually. I know it's a Christmas movie time, but I can fit a werewolf in anytime.
Yeah, I got that, and I've got a vampire one out as well, but it's very, very different than anything you might have seen. Do you remember Shaun of the Dead?
Yes, I have seen that.
This is very much like Shaun of the Dead.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 Indian guys in their dairy end of the world when the vampire plague takes over the planet, and it's the last of mankind on the last day the planet's about to go. So it's about to implode on itself.
So what?
That's it. That's all I got for you.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for more. I didn't know if there was more. Okay. What is that one called?
It's called Tandoori Apocalypse.
It's not released yet, is it?
Yeah, it's out on the first issue of the graphic novels on Amazon now.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll write that down. How do you spell the first word?
Tandoori. Tandori.
Okay, Tandoori. Okay, gotcha. Apocalypse. Okay, cool. I'll look that one up too. After I order my physical copy of Dead Man's Land, I'll look into that one.
And the third one is completely different again. So the third one's not a graphic novel; it's a novel. and it's set in the town where I grew up. And it's a half-caste Aboriginal lawyer and his white wife in the Northern Territory in 1974, when the biggest storm that Australia's ever had wiped Darwin off the map. And they go there for a trip of enlightenment to find out what it was like for him as being, he's raised by a white father, what it was like for him in his hometown or the land that his people come from. And he runs into a racist white miner there, and it turns from rabbit-proof fence into deliverance. And it's a hunt of survival, and it's the juxtaposition of the violence of nature against the violence of man. But it's all set against a true story, so real events,
Right.
With a couple of characters that I've created and put in the middle of all of that.
Oh, cool. That sounds.
But that one, the film rights sold, so it's sold to a lady called Lucinda Bruce from Lady for Light Productions, and we're hopefully going into production in that next year.
Nice. Are you going to be in that?
I'm going to do a cameo.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, I have cast. We've got some people cast. So Simon Merrills, who played Marcus Crassus,
Yes.
he's playing my lead bad guy.
Nice.
Yeah. Which is quite cool. I think he's terrified though. I don't know if you know much about the Northern Territory.
I don't. I know. I have no business in Australia because I would probably be killed by some random animal.
It's pretty much where I was going to get in a line of. So if you think of Australia, we've got 6 states in Australia, and 5 of those states we've got things that will kill you.
Yes.
In the 6th, in the Northern Territory, we've got everything from all of those states bundled into one place, and everything there will kill you.
Right.
We have massive crocodiles.
Yeah.
And I could guarantee you this is a place that we've got up there. It's called the Adelaide River, and its nickname is the River of Death. If you jump in the water there, I would say your life expectancy would be about 10 to 15 seconds if you were lucky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they are everywhere, and they are the estuarine crocodile, and they're quite vicious. So Simon had never seen this before. And every time that I would send a message to Si about script changes or whatever, I'd send a clip of a crocodile attack. And he would literally look at me, and he rang me and he said, What are you trying to do? Are you trying to keep me away from doing this film? I said, No, Simon, you'll be fine. We'll just keep you away from the water. He said, Keep me away from the water. He said, I won't even take a fucking shower.
Yeah, he's that paranoid. When you take a shower.
But I'll tell you, once you've seen these things, you've seen the size of the crocs up there or the other things that'll kill you, I can guarantee you'd be scared of the water too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
There's kids that get killed at Disney World. Alligators grab
alligators. I read about that. Yes.
I could imagine like a big, huge croc. What that would do to you, your psyche.
Yeah. That alligator with that child was tragic.
Yes, it was. Hey,
we get 4 deaths a year or something like that up there with the big crocs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
And they decimate cattle.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nature does what nature does, I guess. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Tragedy, but it's a circle of life. So
if you see one of these things come up out of the water at you, they will range from anywhere about, a big one is 15 foot. Really big ones have been over 20 foot.
How fast can they run?
Something like, I think over a short distance, they've got to sprint faster than a horse over a short distance.
Wow.
So they're quick.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up in the territory, they said, if a croc comes out of the water and it chases you, do a zigzag pattern. And I thought that was insane, because at some point that zig and that zag have got to cross where he's going.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought that was the most shit advice I've ever got in my life. Although the guy that's directing The Nowhere Man, so we've got an Indigenous director called Justin. And Justin said to me, he said, we go to the territory. I mean, I come from there, so I'm pretty comfortable in there. But he said, tell Simon that if we go anywhere near the water, I'll get these 2 rocks and you put them in the water and you click them together. And then when they click together under the water, it sets up this sound that goes right through and reverbs through the crocodile's lower jaw. And then that crocodile will swim away. And I just looked at Justin and I go, yeah, okay, you first. There is no way in the world I'm sticking my arms in that water.
Did he do it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, brave man.
Well, he's Indigenous and he comes from there and his tribe come from there. And I'm sure there are things that they believe that will actually happen. I'm just not going to experiment with it for the first time.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't either.
You come home with stumps going, look, Mark, it didn't work.
I wasn't insured today also.
Yeah,
that would suck. What's a franchise you'd love to be a part of just one time, like going right now?
God, I don't know. I could think of some from the past, but right now, what is out there at the moment?
Well, it's Star Wars, Marvel.
I haven't. There's a few Star Wars I've seen that I liked, but I'm not a fan. What would I do? God, I don't know.
Obviously, I guess the Lord of the Rings show. I think it was filmed in New Zealand.
Yeah, it was. I auditioned for it and narrowly missed a couple of them.
Oh, really? You would have been awesome.
Yeah.
You would have been a great dwarf.
I'll tell you what I would have loved to have done, and I auditioned for it, and I think I got close to it. I don't know, but it was Abraham Ford's role in Walking Dead.
Oh, really? You auditioned for
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Is
I
it-
would have loved to have got that. There was the guy who got it did a good job. I think I would have done a better job.
Of course you would have. You were
Yeah.
Luke. Why wouldn't you?
I just saw when I looked at Abraham Ford and he was ex-military and he was built like a brick shit house. I just didn't think they cast really well with that. But the guy that they cast was a great actor. Can't knock him. Just physically, it was like Tom Cruise taking over.
For Jack Reacher.
Oh God, yeah, Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
You know, you initially looked at that and you went, "Oh, it just doesn't seem to fit." I was like that when I watched Abraham Ford, and I've never really looked at an audition where I go, "Oh, I should have got that." Generally, if I look at an audition that I've missed and I've seen the guy they've cast, I've gone, "Oh, I see why they cast that guy, not me." This is the one time I didn't see that.
Right. Yeah, I think you would have been good in that show. I probably would have kept watching it if you were in it, but I bailed on that. I bailed on that show quite a while ago. Oh.
I went out on about season 4, season 5.
Well, I bailed on it when I think they were captured by the cannibals, and I was like, okay, this is a good twist. I'm all about this. And then like Carol like shoots a bottle rocket at a propane tank and they escape, and I'm like, really? That's it? That's the whole cannibal arc? I'm like, okay, I'm done with this shit. See you later. It's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 3 or 4 seasons in they should have stopped because it was great up until then.
Yeah, I think a lot of shows overstate their welcome because I know Spartacus was like pretty much right to the point. Like, I was sad when I found out that War of the Damned was the last season, but I was like, if they don't do this, it's just going to be a new general chasing the rebels, and then he dies, and then they'll do another general chasing the rebels. But I was wondering if they'd ever get to like a Caesar focused episode or season, but they never did. Which I think
they're still talking about it too. So, but I doubt it's ever going to happen.
Really, just too much money, or
what I think there should be is a another full season on the Germans led by Lugo.
Oh yeah, pretty cool.
Well, my bank manager wants that.
Yeah, I mean, you should present at least how about like a TV movie or something at least.
Yeah.
Was that probably the best shape of your life you were in? Is filming Spartacus?
No, I was a competition bodybuilder. I won Mr. Australia, light heavyweight Mr. Australia, light heavyweight Mr. New Zealand, and I got a 4th in the world. And when I was bodybuilding, I was in the best shape of my life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was pretty close to it for the show, though.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, because you never really wore clothes. Nobody did, except for like the Roman masters. That's about it.
You know that every time we did stuff, even out in the snow, they say, okay, rug everybody up and put this jacket on such and such. And they go, what about Lugo? So now leave him naked. I shit you not.
Yeah. Did you guys film on location a lot, or was it like mostly green screen?
Nothing was on location. Everything was green screen.
Green screen, okay. Because I know sometimes they would have like columns or something people were leaned up against, and I figured it was like probably just like physical props against the green screen.
Yeah. They'd built it. They built literally. Was it? I can't remember the name of the city, but they built it.
Capua.
So it was the size of the green screen was massive.
Yeah.
It was at one stage we were at a place called Richard Pierce Drive where the studio was, and it was a studio where they had an aircraft hangar, and they could put something like 8 to 10 Boeings in there. So passenger aircraft. That's how big it was, and then it was just completely surrounded by green screen curtaining.
Right.
Every element in that show was green screen. It was all CGI. I think that up to that point before Game of Thrones started, we had the most CGI elements in any show ever.
Oh, I believe it because like I said, especially the first season was like really stylized. Like it's almost like animated backgrounds with like live action.
Yeah, you notice how that started to change though.
Yeah, and I noticed like
through the seasons, they started to drop the less animated look.
Yes, yeah, it got away from like the 300 look into more like just a Spartacus look, I guess.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was a lesson they were learning. So, which was great about the filmmakers because they were listening and responding to what people were saying.
What was your favorite gladiator fight, or just fight in general in that show between all the seasons?
Well, the first one with Manu was great. I liked it. It broke me. It absolutely got broken in it, but it's not my favorite. The
Yeah.
favorite was, I think it was episode 9 of, I think it was War of the Damned. It was episode 9 when we were in the our own makeshift Colosseum and we were slaughtering the Romans.
Yes.
And it was only a really quick scene where I took that guy's head off with a hammer, but I really enjoyed it. But you know what, the favorite moment for me? The favorite moment when I got to utter those 3 words. Do you remember that?
What was it?
So I cave in an old guy's head, and then I look up and I just go, I am Spartacus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot about that one actually. Yeah.
So those 3 words carried so much weight and so much meaning. It was great to be able to actually get them to come out of my mouth.
Yeah, well, it's an iconic phrase from the Kirk Douglas movie, obviously, too.
Yeah.
So to get to say it like on a real production, it's probably really, really cool homage to.
It was absolutely brilliant. I'd say out of everything in that show, that was the moment for me.
So, what was your favorite? What do you think was the coolest like gladiator fight though in the show? Not involving you, but just like overall in general, because there's some pretty memorable ones.
Anything with Gannicus in it, but I think when they took the Egyptian out, that was epic.
The guy that killed
Onomaus.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. And the one where they took off the face. So I was in this one, but it was where they took off Ageless's face.
Yes, I was going to say that's the one where you picked up the sword and shield and banged it together and told them that we're going to go ahead and follow you because you're pretty badass.
Yeah, and that charge through the temple. I did love that charge through the temple when they did that super slow-mo. So you remember when they're throwing all the drinks at me?
Yeah.
Do you know that nobody told me they were going to do that?
They just did it.
They just did it. I got this shit coming at me left, right, and center. I didn't know whether to stop and smack somebody or just keep going.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. They did like a lot of the slow-mo stuff in that. I think that's a lot of the 300 comparison too, was the slow-mo camera, like action shots.
Yeah, well, all of that stuff for us was flat out, but they were using what was the camera? The Phantom camera for that. I think it was like 600 frames per second.
You know, on some cell phones now, they almost have something equal to that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and in that size, it is amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know if it's like 600 a second, but it's pretty damn slow.
Yeah.
I messed around with it one time and was messing around with some stuff, and I did it, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I don't know what
have you got?
No, I'm in a band and we did a music video and we were trying some different things out, and I tried the slow-mo camera on a couple of shots that didn't work out. But I never knew it was on my phone, so I started messing with the settings and saw it. I was like, hey, let's just try this or let's try that. And we never used any of the slow-mo stuff, but I discovered it that was on my phone. So I was like, that's pretty cool. I'll keep that in mind if I ever need it for something again.
You should send me the link to the clip.
I'll send you a link to the video. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Actually, I was gonna say, not pushing my own stuff, but my band has a song, very werewolf focused sounding and subject matter. Might be a pretty good song for your Dead Man's Land soundtrack if you ever got that.
Send
it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's called Shadow of the Moon, actually. So
yep, love to hear it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. So, all right, Barry. Well, man, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. I think you're the most famous person I've ever talked to on the interview. So,
you need to get out more.
Well, like I said, when me and another guy started this, it was just like basically discussing like TV shows that we liked, like a lot of Star Wars stuff and Star Trek. I'm a big Star Trek fan, stuff like that. So, and then when we were talking, it's like, well, let's just change the dynamic to like actually like finding people who have been in the things that we like. Like, we don't have to go for like the Starfucker route. Let's just talk to like people who are like lesser roles or like involved in it somehow. That's not, like Robert Downey Jr. or one of the Avengers or something like that. Let's just talk to like the people who are like, in it and could talk about it, but have cool experiences to talk about. So,
one of the most interesting things about this journey has been for me when people say to you, and they say, "Oh, you're a celebrity now." So I get that tag, "You're a celebrity." I mean, I've been in the acting game for 30 years, and I didn't get that tag for celebrity, I think, until Spartacus. But I don't look at it like that. I just look at it like I got a great job, and occasionally I get to do some amazing stuff. So if I can give you one thing before I wrap this up.
Okay.
There's a young boy by the name of Beanie, and his name is Ashton. So Beanie was a 2-time cancer survivor. And when we went to the first convention that we went to for Spartacus, so we got to travel to the States numerous times now in Europe to do these conventions.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew his story, and I'd been talking with his mother, and I knew that he had never seen the show, but his mum had always talked about her love of it, and one of her favorite characters was Lugo as well.
Right.
So I knew they were on hard times. So I got involved with raising the cash to get them to come out to that convention. And it absolutely made their day. And just that made my day. And I got to hug that boy when he came through the gate. And I will never, ever forget the feeling and the look in his eyes for that. That's what makes it all special. Everything else is just bullshit and fluff.
Did you greet him in your Lugo accent by any chance?
No. I don't actually think he'd seen anything of it. His mum had just told him the stories about it and said,
Gotcha.
Racing out. And I'm still in touch with that family 10 years later, and they're my best friends,
Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. I like people who just like share the not really the wealth, but just embrace like what they were in, and just like if it touches someone, then you just like do
100%.
everything you can to make it that much better for someone who like downtrodden.
Yeah, and if you get an opportunity, share it and share the wealth. Why would you not do that? Pay it forward.
Yeah.
And realize that the very, very people that you're meeting are the very people that have made it possible for you to be where you are.
Yeah, they're the ones who watched the show and got it renewed,
100%, buddy.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I was definitely one of those people, and my dad was. My dad was really into Spartacus also. He got to see it before he passed. So that was always cool that we had that complete package we could talk about, because he also was a fan of Game of Thrones, but he passed in 2014. So he didn't see past season 3, I don't think. But to be honest with you, the way it ended, I don't know if he was missing a whole lot.
You know what? He was probably watching it over your shoulder anyway.
I did leave. I left it on a lot, just like running on streaming when I leave. Like if he's there, check it out.
Yeah.
Same with the Mandalorian and stuff like that with Star Wars. But yeah, we were
the same with me. My dad died in 2001.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's watching.
Yeah,
I just do it. I do it every day, as I imagine you would too. As you just do everything every day to keep them being proud of you.
Yeah, I a lot of times when I have some time, I'll just like watch movies that we used to watch. Like Quickly Down Under was a big one. We love that one.
Love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. Are you a pretty big fan of Westerns?
I am a huge fan of Westerns.
Yeah, I am.
Rio Bravo is my favorite.
I don't know if I've seen that one or not.
John Wayne, Rio Bravo.
Oh, John Wayne. Okay, yeah. I'm not a huge John Wayne fan. I think it's a generational thing.
Yeah, I'm not a particularly fan of all of his movies, and I'm not particularly. I like the guy. I think he's got. I think he just had something. But Rio Bravo with Dean Martin, and him was phenomenally good. But I liked contemporary stuff too. Like Young Guns was brilliant. Tombstone, brilliant.
Yes.
White
Earp. One of my favorites. Yeah. That movie is just so quotable. I love it. Yeah.
So anybody who's out there who wants to do a Western and they'd like to put me in it, I do have an American accent and I would love to do a Western.
The first time you came to America after watching Deliverance, did you think everyone was going to be like that by any chance?
Do you know, my first concept of America was, and please don't hold this against me, but Crime Ridden and Dirty. And from everything I'd seen, I thought the chances were you're going to walk out of your hotel and get shot. My view of America has changed immensely, and Americans.
Yes.
I loved my time in America, and I love the Americans I hang out with. I'm really torn at the moment watching what's happening to the country, because I love it so much. And I always had a dream of being able to settle in the States, somewhere in San Diego.
Right.
I'm not so keen to go at the moment.
Only in Chicago is really bad.
Oh no, the violence doesn't bother me. It's the political stances.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, well, it's bad because they let it get that way. Yeah. The problem is
the division is killing me. I can't understand the division. I mean, opinions are opinions.
Yeah.
Everyone's got them. It's the division that's caused, and the governments that are causing that division, and the people are allowing that to happen.
Yeah,
makes me insane.
I can tell you what it is. It's not racism or sexism or anything like that. It's classism.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the ruling class runs because they hate other people more than they want to help people. So now that when you watch CNN, it's like for instance, like on CNN they'll have like a Republican on. And instead of like letting them talk, they'll just like shout them down. Like your idea is stupid, you're this, you're that, you're A, B, and C, blah, 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 blah. And they look like heroes. And they get the pat on the back on Twitter from, other people who think that way. And they get emboldened. And there's no room for discussion anymore. It's just like, if you go on Fox and you're Democratic or left leaning, you get the same treatment. Pretty much. Although I will say on Fox, they do let them talk. CNN and like MSNBC and like the big cable networks over here, it's just like they just shout them down as soon as they like, introduce them. So yeah, if people would just elect, if we would just get rid of political parties and just have two people running on ideas and have people research what they're all about, the country could change in like 2 or 3 election cycles, no problem.
Yeah, that by the people for the people is gone, right?
Yeah, but it really is a uniparty because they always vote in unison on pay raises, government shutdowns. They're always pretty unanimous, and spending money on defense contractors. They love them too. Like the war on Ukraine, that's a big moneymaker for the defense market over here.
No, watched what happened with FTX. It was disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the crypto?
We can talk politics all day. I'll tell you. I would say I'm a right-leaning centrist.
I am very center, but I hate politicians on both sides. Like I really do.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, I just can't stand them. Like I'm
it's
just
the same over. It's the same over here.
I imagine so. Yeah, I mean, it was like the whole COVID thing was like you got to do this or you're this. It's like, well, not really. I mean, if I'm not hurting anyone, what does it matter if I get a shot or not?
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I got the shot and I got damaged, so I'm no fan.
That sucks. And the thing that got me about the shot was they pretty much said right out of the gate that you cannot sue any of the pharmaceutical companies after.
And it's 75 years before you can see any of the data.
Yeah, and I was just like, that sounds a little suspect.
Did you see what happened in the European Union?
I did not.
Robert Roos is a parliamentarian in Europe, and he fronted up Jeanette Small. She's because Albert Bolter wouldn't show. So they wanted to question Bolter. He wouldn't show up. They questioned her. And they said to her, can you tell me, yes or no, was the vaccine tested for transmission before you rolled out the vaccine? And she said, no, we didn't have time. We had to move at the speed of science. We had to keep up with the market. Right. And the wording. So no, they didn't test. So all the stuff that we were told about, you don't want to give this to your mother, your father, your grandparents, or your friends, was all bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out.
That never got showed over here, though. So all that went through Europe like wildfire. In New Zealand, they would not show it on our news.
Really?
No. Huh. It's because we've got state-controlled news and state-controlled healthcare, state-controlled media, state-controlled everything. They're never going to bite the hand that feeds them, ever.
Right. So your news is pretty much government good.
It's all funded by the government.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, that's not much different in China, really. Or Russia.
Yeah. Well, welcome to New China.
Is that what you guys call it over
there? Pretty much.
Yeah, there's a town south of me called Hendersonville, and everyone refers to it as New Mexico City because it's very agricultural focused, like a lot of apple farm orchards and stuff like that. Dude, it's all like migrant workers down there. Yeah.
Well, there are 2 million plus of them there now, so there better be a lot of orchards.
There must be like at least half of that in that one town alone. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like, wow, there's nobody down here that's white anymore.
I feel really sorry for those people being stuck in the middle of this because it's been so politicized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is like the U.S. won't economically suffocate these like cartels or like dictators to get them out. Like you don't have to invade, but you can change policies.
Yeah,
that will like
absolutely,
take away,
absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They won't change the policies. Like, okay, for instance, like I'm a big like legalize all drugs, government controlled, sell them in a ABC store or a drugstore where and treat it like tobacco or alcohol. people are going to do it if it's legal or not. So to get rid of the fentanyl that's mixed in, sell it in a controlled environment in a government
Yep.
regulated store. The embarrassment factor might help to get people not to buy it. If it's clean, people will buy it over something on a street corner any day of the week.
Yeah, it's not going to kill them.
Yep, and you can just pay a fee to go into a say a opium den. You pay a fee. There's a registered nurse. There's Narcan, and if something goes wrong, you're good to go.
Yeah.
I know it's not an ideal situation, but
Oh yeah, but you're dead right, because they're never going to change kids trying it.
yeah,
Over here we have deaths from the stuff that they've introduced
yep.
as a what do you call it? Like they had party pills came in instead of MDMA.
Yeah.
And it killed people. I think we had one MDMA death, and then when they changed that over some substitute they brought in, they said, "Oh, you can use this. It's just a safe party pill." It killed at least a dozen kids that I know of.
Really. Yeah, it's a shame, man. Like I said, it's just dirty stuff, man, coming in. It's not regulated, and instead of just like, let's just make this better because people are going to do it, and you can make money off it. You can tax the shit out of it. So it's like an income that you could do, but they won't. They just won't. I don't know. And like I said, the guns coming in and stuff like that. It's like, well, I mean, if you would just sell them in the store. I mean, there's things we could do here about gun violence, which is like, so they're talking about like AR-15s and stuff like that. The stuff that looks like it belongs in the military, basically, is what they want to get rid of. Just because it looks like, yeah, just because it looks like it's in the military, don't mean it's really a military weapon. But if they would just do simple things like, if you buy a gun, you can't buy ammo for 30 days after you're in a database. If you try to buy ammo and your name comes up in this database that you bought a gun 21 days before, you have to wait 9 more days. That most of the school shootings and like club shootings and stuff like that is impulse. Like they're not really planned out. It's just like someone gets mad one morning, it's like, I'm gonna shoot this fucking school up. And they just go and do it. They don't have time to calm down. They don't have time to like smoke a joint and be like, maybe I'm not gonna shoot that school up after all. I'm good. Stuff like that. It's
yeah. Well, you know what? They're gonna have to ban fertilizer as well, because you remember Timothy McVeigh used the fertilizer bomb. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and they'll find a weapon no matter what.
Well, that's what I always say. It's like, if it wasn't a gun, it could be a van in a pickup line. It could be chemicals in the cafeteria food. It could be anything. The gun, sure, it's easiest and it's the sexiest to like, blame kind of thing, but intent is intent. I mean, there's people. I remember a dude like showed up a bunch of people with a sword over in Europe like 15 years ago. I remember
that here too.
Yeah. Like in China or Japan, like they do that on trains, like subway trains. Like they'll come with like a samurai sword, just starts hacking people. No gun involved. It's just intent, and the intent was bad. Obviously,
guns make good politics.
Exactly. Yeah. The union, what you call it,
NRA.
I can't think of the name of them. The lobbyists. The lobbyists love it because they get paid to defend them, and they get paid to talk against them, but they're both getting paid from the government.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a mess over here. It is a shame that everyone just hates each other based on where you live or what you vote, but
skin color, sexuality.
Well, that's
and who you vote for.
That's the surface stuff, but like I said, it's really classism. It's the ruling class versus everybody else.
You know what I love? What's really amazing for me is watching Black Americans. And they're involved in discussions about racism, and then they say, "Oh, so you're a Black American, but you're a Republican," which makes you lower.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of shaming too, stuff like that. But I try to stay out of all that stuff. I don't even vote R or D. I just vote. I vote I or L, libertarian, because that's basically an I.
I'm voting for Statler and Waldorf if they run here.
Are they right leaning?
Statler and Waldorf are the two Muppets that sat up in the top of the
in
the theater, screaming down everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm voting for those dudes.
I got you. Yeah, I can be one of I could be one of those guys one of these days. I pretty much like them too. Yeah, just sit in the balcony and shout down.
So I'll sit in the chair next to you, because so am I.
Let's do it. Let's do a real life Netflix show. Me and you be in it, and we'll just make fun of people we don't like.
Deal.
Well, Barry, man, it's been really fun. And yeah, if you ever get over here to the States, if you're in the North Carolina area, just let me know.
Oh man, I'll get back.
Yeah, it's you can go places where the division is kind of just a not that big a deal. Mostly rural areas. Inner cities is kind of a iffy thing anymore. There was a lot of
Yeah, I
crime.
just don't buy into it.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of
So,
crime,
yeah,
but it's mostly because the like district attorneys and stuff are just like, this isn't a big deal anymore, or this isn't a big deal. Like a simple assault, we're not gonna jail you for simple assault or stuff like that. And then it just kind of snowballs to where it's like, yeah, oh, you murdered someone. Oh, he was an R. Yeah, let's not worry. Don't worry about it. We don't
yeah.
have room in the jail for it. That it gets to
And you
that
can
kind of.
steal $850 worth of products and just walk out the door, right?
Dude, there is like Walgreens drugstore has like closed down locations in like cities that they just lose money and stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's a real thing. They even did it here in near me. Some stores just shut down. It's like, we're done.
We have it here happening more and more all the time. Ram raids, and they're all kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, kids will do dumb shit, but it's still, you have to kind of teach them something somewhere along the line. They kind of need to know that it's not right.
Yeah.
If
But
you
it's
don't
been the
tell them,
last
they
2
do that.
years. It's all happened over the last 2 years. And for us, it was a change of government. The change of government changed when they changed here. Crime went through the roof. Then they did the gun control thing here, and then shootings went through the roof.
Are guns banned in New Zealand like they are in Australia?
No, you can have a weapon, but you have
Okay,
to be fully licensed to have it, and you have to have a reason to have it. So you can't do a carry. There's
gotcha.
no concealed carries in Australia or New Zealand.
Okay, because
Uh,
I thought it was outlawed in Australia. Like you couldn't
no,
even.
I used to have a license to carry and issue, but I ran a company over there. So that was in Australia.
Okay.
Yep.
What
So if
kind
you have a reason for it and you do you have to do all the courses for it, and then you can carry. Otherwise, no.
To be honest with you, they should do that here in America. I know everyone's like, Second Amendment right, but it's like, well, you have the right to at least try to
Yeah.
do it. I mean,
I'm pro gun, but I am really anti-American gun laws, and especially what happened in Texas.
yeah,
Yeah, anyone can go and buy a weapon in Texas if I'm right. I think that just got changed, even an 18-year-old.
18 years old, yeah.
Yeah,
You can't do handguns until you're 21, but you can buy a rifle at 18.
yeah,
What I was saying was, like, if they would just like amend some rules, like if you can't buy a gun and ammo on the same day, like it
yeah.
has to be like a 30-day waiting period in between.
Cooling
Like
off
I said,
period.
yeah, exactly. Like, because a lot, like I said, a lot of the stuff that goes bad is just like impulse. Like, oh, this guy pissed me off. I'm gonna go show them. I'm gonna go shoot at my old place.
Yeah,
Go buy a gun at Walmart that morning, a box of ammo. They would just like make you wait in between. I think that would cut down a lot myself.
yeah.
Not going to stop it. Nothing will. If someone wants to do it, they're going to do it. But I think it would. I think it would. The percentages would go way down because
I think
after you have
having
time to
someone
cool
who's
down,
yeah,
and sleep on it, you might think, well, yeah, never mind, I'm good.
having someone who's armed and trained at the schools for me, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, the county I live in, the sheriff, who just won re-election, has AR-15s in every school in the county. Biometric locks on the safes, so only one person can get them. And yeah, if you shoot up a school in Madison County, North Carolina, or want to, there's an AR-15 fully loaded, waiting to go by a professional resource officer that knows how to use it. So,
Yeah,
soft
I
targets,
totally stand by
are what
that.
they go for. They don't go for hard targets, just soft targets. So,
Yeah.
if you harden up, you probably won't get hit. Yeah. So, all right, Barry. Well, let me go off on a tangent on some American Australian
That's all right. I
politics.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun. But man, really, I appreciate you coming on. And yeah, I will let you know when I read my copy of Dead Man's Land. And I'll read your other novel too, the Nowhere Man.
Yeah.
And,
Well, did you get them on? You got them on Kindle?
well, I got Dead Man's Land on Kindle because I subscribed to Kindle. It was free on there, but I couldn't read it on my phone because it's a graphic novel.
Well, if you get them in hardback and I get to meet you, I'll sign them for you.
Oh, nice. I should hold on just a second. After we get done here, hit record. I got this. I wrote this book too. It's a novel I wrote. It's based on
I
a
like
album.
artwork.
Yeah, it's by David Paul Seymour, but it's me and me and the guitar player in my band wrote a concept album, and I wrote like liner notes for like the story, and this is pretty much the liner notes. It was almost a book, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna finish it. So
Did you
yeah,
put it on Amazon?
it is on Amazon. Yes.
Link me there too.
Okay, I will. Yeah, I made it for like people who can't read. I mean, like I said, the words are really big,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, I'll send it to you. But all right, Barry. Well, I know we said you buy it 3 times, but let's part ways for real this time.
Let's go for a happy fourth.
Yes. Anyway, if you've never watched Spartacus, you should remedy that. Check it out. Also, check out Barry's other stuff, especially No Escape. You won't see him, but it's a really cool movie. And the Xena and Hercules stuff. You can look them up there. And then everything else he's done on IMDb. The Brokenwood Mysteries, that also right?
Yeah, Brokenwood Mysteries.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'll check that out too. Yeah, you give me a lot of stuff to watch. And yeah, so thanks again, Barry, man, all the way from Australia. I know it's like 11 o'clock, 11:30 in the morning on Sunday. It is 5:30 for me on Saturday. So we're pretty far apart in time. But the internet brings everyone together. So
Absolutely. And I enjoyed this. Thanks, mate.
yeah, man, I'll be looking forward to more of your projects, and let me know when the Nowhere Man was the Nowhere Man got option?
Yeah. Nowhere Man and Hellion Rising and Breath of the Dragon are the 3 I've got out there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check them all out when they come out. So I'll be looking.
All right, Jason.
All right, Barry. Well, I appreciate it, and yeah, have a good rest of your day, and yeah,
Thanks, buddy.
everything in the future.
You too.
Okay, thanks.